Hello, YouTube, and thank you for joining me, Morgan Freeman, for another chapter of Tales Back in Diapers. Chapter 4, Shopping with a Twist. As Tails left his workshop, he decided to fly back to the train station rather than walk all the way. It was one thing to be stuck in diapers 24/7, but he sure didn't want any chafing down there. When Tails got to the station, he boarded the next train to town and took his seat. Fortunately, there weren't many people on board. Everyone had already gone to work, so there were plenty of empty seats. As the train headed off, Tails began to think about how Ebony might have been behind his recent accidents. However, his train of thought was cut short when he heard a familiar voice calling his name. "Yo, Tails, what's up, man?" Knuckles said, coming to sit next to Tails. "Oh, hi, Knuckles. What are you doing here?" Tails asked nervously as he nonchalantly draped his tails over his lap to hide the diaper bulge. "Just headed into town to pick up a few things. And you?" Knuckles said as he picked up a newspaper. "Oh, just going back home after some work in the lab. Hey, shouldn't you be guarding the Mastered Emerald, though?" "Oh, right. I called the Chaotix to look after it until I get back. Hopefully, they don't screw it up," Knuckles said, rolling his eyes. "Thinking ahead for once, I see," Tails said, chuckling a bit. "Yeah, Hey, what's that supposed to mean?" Knuckles asked a little miff as Tails continued to snicker away. "Oh, nothing. Just that you are a pretty crummy guardian. Hey, I always end up getting the Mastered Emerald back. Yeah, after it gets stolen for the 50th time. Oh, shut up. I'd like to see you sit in front of a rock every day." "Sounds like a blast," Tails said sarcastically. After a few minutes of conversation, the train finally came to its first stop. "Well, this looks like my stop. See you around, Knucklehead," Tails said, getting up with a slight crinkle from his diaper. "See ya," Knuckles waved as Tails walked out of the train with a slight waddle. The heck was that about? You'd think he had a pillow between his legs or something. Knuckles shrugged it off and went back to reading his paper. Before heading home, Tails quickly stopped by the station's bathroom to check on his diaper. He took off his glove and slid a couple fingers down the front to check how wet it was. "Looks like I'm only a little damp. I should probably get home now." After Tails checked his diaper, he decided to fly home rather than waddle all the way there, and after a couple minutes of flying, he got about a block away from his home and walked the rest of the way there. "Mom, Dad, I'm home," Tails called as he walked into his house. "Oh, there you are, Miles. I was wondering when you would get home," Rosemary said, coming around the corner. "Sorry, I kind of slept in a little longer than usual." "Well, you could at least call us so we know when you'll be home. Oh, and before I forget, your father needs your help with something in the garage," Rosemary said as she went back into the kitchen to make dinner. "Tell him I'll be up in a couple minutes. I just have to put my stuff away," Tails said, running downstairs, crinkling with every step. Once Tails got into his room, He pulled the remaining diapers out of his bag and shoved them to the back of his closet. He carefully untaped the diaper from his waist, slid on one of his pull-ups, and tossed the particularly damp diaper into the closet. After hiding his stash behind some boxes, Tails went back upstairs to help his dad. "So, you needed my help with something, Dad?" Tails asked, bending down to see what he was doing. "Oh, there you are, Miles. I was hoping you'd get home soon," Amadeus said as he came out from under the car. "Been having a little trouble with the car this morning. Hey, you're good with this type of stuff. You think you could take a look at it?" "Sure thing, Dad. Just let me get my tools," Tails said as he walked over to get his toolbox. After about 15 minutes of messing with the car, Tails finally emerged with a few oil and grease spots on his face and clothes. "Well, it looks like the battery is just dead." "Really? I tried jumping it, and that didn't work," Amadeus said, scratching his head. "Maybe you should get some gas first. The tank's empty," Tails stated in a bit of an annoyed voice. "Oh, whoops. Suppose I should have checked that first. Sorry about that," Amadeus said, nervously chuckling. Tails let out a sigh and looked at his clothes. "Great, now I have to get some clean clothes and wash my face off." "Looks like I'll need some clean clothes too, huh? Just make sure you're done before dinner." Tails went back to his room and took off his dirty clothes until he was just in his pull-up, which was still dry, fortunately. After putting on a clean pair of clothes, Tails went into the bathroom to wash his face off, when suddenly his stomach growled and was starting to cramp up. Tails nearly doubled over from the pain, but soon had the realization that this wasn't a regular stomach cramp. He quickly rushed over to the toilet, pulled his pants down, pull-up and all, and let everything go. After what seemed like forever, Tails let out a sigh of relief, started cleaning himself up, and pulled his pants back on. Ugh, that was horrible. It feels like my butt is on fire now, Tails said as he rubbed his backside a bit. At least I made it to the toilet, though. A pull-up definitely wouldn't have held all that in. "Miles, dinner's ready," Rosemary called from upstairs. "I'll be right up, Mom," Tails called as he opened the bathroom door. "You were down there for a while. Something wrong, sweetie?" Rosemary asked as Tails took his place at the table. Oh, nothing. Must have had something bad for breakfast is all." "So what are we having for dinner?" "Well, if you say so. We're having macaroni and cheese. I just hope your tummy isn't upset anymore," Rosemary said as she ruffled Tails' hair a bit. "Mom, I'm not a little kid anymore. I'm perfectly fine now," Tails said, a bit annoyed. I know," Rosemary said as she went back to her seat. "So, you guys said you were leaving tomorrow, right?" Tails asked between bites. "Actually," Amada started, "we were planning on leaving tonight. The guys want to meet up for dinner before we head out. Oh, and before I forget, they had to extend the event, so we'll be gone a little longer than we had planned." "How much longer exactly?" Tails asked. "Another week. So you'll have to put up with being babysat for 2 weeks. think you'll be okay for that long?" Rosemary told Tails. "I'll be okay. But who are you getting to watch me?" "Well, I called that one girl. Oh, what was her name again, honey?" Rosemary asked her husband. "Ebony Gale. She seems like such a nice girl." "Oh, that's right. Anyways, she said she could look after you for a while. She said that she might be busy on some days, so Vanilla and her will switch every few days." "Wait, if Vanilla agreed to watch me, does that mean she'll bring Cream along too?" Tails asked. "Most likely. It'll be easier for her to watch both of you at the same time. Besides, you and Cream used to have so much fun playing together," Rosemary said as she started to clean up the table. "But that was when we were little. Plus, she's 2 years younger than me. And besides, what if she finds out about that?" Tails almost whispering the last part. "Oh, you don't have to worry about that. I told Vanilla all about your bedwetting, and she told me that Cream still wets the bed too, so you won't have to hide anything from them." "Well, that's a relief," Tails said sarcastically. After dinner, Tails went back down to his room, changed into a new diaper, and turned on his video game console. For the rest of the afternoon, Tails played Super Smash Bros. With Sonic Online. Once it came to be around 4 in the afternoon, Rosemary and Amadeus were about ready to leave, so Tails worked his way upstairs to see them off. "I called Ebony about 10 minutes ago. She should be here sometime between 4 and 5, okay? If anything goes wrong, my cell phone number is on the fridge, so you can give us a call," Rosemary told Tails as they were getting ready to leave. "Okay, I'll be sure to call you every other day." "Well, I guess we'll be off then. See you in 2 weeks, Miles," Rosemary said, giving Tails a hug before they left. Once his parents' car was out of sight, Tails decided to relax a bit, so he took off his pants and watched TV in just a shirt and diaper until Ebony arrived. Once it got to around 4:45, Tails heard a knock on the door. Just to be safe, he peeked out the window just to see who it was before he opened the door, wearing nothing but a shirt and diaper. Upon seeing that it was none other than the black and red vixen herself, Tails quickly went over to open the door for her. "Well, hey there, Squirt," Ebony said as she entered the house. "I take it you are relaxing, eh?" "Yep, just taking it easy," Tails said as he patted the front of his diaper. "Oh, that reminds me. I don't suppose you have any more of these, 'cause I'm kind of running on the last couple." "Well, I'd have to head over to the store to get some more," Ebony said as she was putting her stuff down. "Ooh, that gives me an idea. Why don't you come along with me?" "Really?" "Yeah. Plus, you could pick out your own diapers this time. They've got a whole bunch of different types and designs," Ebony said, starting to get excited. "I don't know. What if someone sees us?" "Oh, you won't have to worry about that. This store isn't exactly your average Walmart. It's a little more specialized in the things they sell. Okay, but if we're gonna be leaving, I'm at least putting a pair of pants on first, Tails said as he walked over to the couch and grabbed his pants. Alrighty then, ready to head out. I suppose. Are we taking the bus or something? No, something a lot better than that. Ebony smirked as she walked over to a red Camaro. You have a Camaro. How can you afford all this? Tails asked, stunned. Well, my parents were pretty well off when they died. All of their money went straight to my brother and I. Of course, we didn't get the money until we were older, but our adoptive parents were just as shocked as we were. Wait, you have a brother, and you're adopted? Yeah, we're twins, and he's in the same crinkle party as us, too. And yeah, our parents died. Our birth parents died when we were about 2 years old, Ebony explained as they got into the car. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, but hey, enough about that. We've got some shopping to do, Ebony said, perking right back up as she drove the car onto the street. How fucking long has this been? Sweet Jesus, we're not even halfway done. After about 15 minutes of driving, the two foxes eventually made it to a decently sized store off the main stretch. And here we are, Ebony said as they pulled into the parking lot. ABDL Inc. What the heck does that mean? Tails asked as he hopped out of the car. Oh, you'll see, Ebony said as she got out of the car. The two walked into the store, and Tails couldn't help but stare at how big and colorful it was. Wow. I don't think I've seen a store this colorful since Mom made me go with her shopping for baby stuff for one of her friends, Tails remarked, still looking around the front. Funny you should mention that, Ebony said, chuckling a bit as they headed into the first aisle. Why is that? Tails asked as he noticed the clothes hanging in the aisle. They look like footy pajamas, only bigger. And are those onesies? They look like they were made for adults. That's because they are. I told you this place was specialized in what they sell. By the way, I don't suppose you've ever heard of the terms AB or infantilism. Actually, yeah. I came across some threads while browsing the internet. I didn't know they had whole stores like this to buy stuff from, Tails said, looking around in sheer awe. Yeah, not too many of them around for obvious reasons, though. But we're just here for some diapers and changing supplies, right? No need to browse the baby stuff, unless you want to, Ebony said, leaning in close to Tails. Tails blushed a little bit at the thought. Well, I don't know. Besides, none of these are in my size anyways. Ebony chuckled a bit at Tails' embarrassment and continued to keep walking. Oh, I'm sure they do. They're probably just back in a different section. You sure seem to know where you're going. It's like a maze in here, Tails said as his stomach growled a bit. Sure do. I've been here more times than I can count. You okay back there? I'm fine. Although I think I'll be needing a new diaper in a minute or two. Well, try to hold it in until we at least get to the... Oh, wait, I guess we're here already, Ebony said as they reached the diaper section. All right, Which ones do you want? Tails went over to the literal wall of diapers and stared at it for a minute until a lady came up to him. Why, hello there. I don't believe I've seen you here before. Is there something I can help you with? Tails stammered a bit until Ebony intervened. We're looking to get him some good quality diapers. Do you have anything in mind, Miss Jeanson? Miss Jeanson. Wait, you know each other? Tails asked, a little confused. Of course. Why, Ebony is one of the regulars here. Well, her and her brother. I suppose you could say I become a family friend of sorts. Plus, I just so happen to be the owner of this plush establishment, the middle-aged woman said as she hugged Ebony. How do you know her, though? I'm babysitting him on and off for the next 2 weeks. He took a liking to me the first time, so I suppose we kind of connected, Ebony said as she ruffled Tails' hair. Well, that's nice to hear. Now, as for the diapers, Miss Jeanson said, turning to the shelves. Are you wearing for nighttime use, daytime, fetish? All three, Tails admitted shyly. And not just mild use either, so you'd better find some heavy-duty diapers, Tails said, putting a hand on his stomach, which was growling again. Tails was about to make a comment when his bowels decided to give way, making the back of his pants sag a little. Whew, somebody made a stinky. Miss Jeanson said as she waved her hand in front of her face. Man life, kid, what did you eat this morning? Ebony gagged as she held her nose. Sorry, Tails said, blushing again. Well then, Miss Jeanson said as she took the pack of diapers out of Tails' hands. I think somebody desperately needs a diaper change before we continue. Why don't you come with me, sweetie? Miss Jeanson asked as she took hold of Tails' hand. Go where exactly? We have a changing room just around the corner. You can get these paid for once we get you all cleaned up, she said, leading Tails to another part of the store. Wait, you're going to change me? Of course I am, and I can't imagine you'd want to be stuck in a messy diaper for more than a few minutes. Tails was led into another room at the back of the store, which looked an awful lot like a baby's nursery. Sorry to ask this, but you're gonna have to strip down to your diaper. You can keep your shirt on, but the pants and shoes will have to come off. Tails nodded and slipped his shoes and pants off. Hop up here and lay down, please. Miss Jeanson motioned Tails towards a large changing table. Tails did as he was told and lay down on the plastic table. He didn't know how many times he had blushed in the last few minutes, but this time he could certainly feel his face getting warm. Don't you worry your little head off. I've changed my fair share of diapers before, and not just baby diapers, you know. Miss Jeanson winked as she untaped his diaper. Tails didn't respond, but only kept blushing as Miss Jeanson went about lifting his legs and cleaning his bottom off. As soon as his bottom was cleaned off, she tossed the diapers and wipes in the trash, grabbed a fresh diaper along with some baby powder and lotion, and changed Tails into the new diaper. And we're done, she said as she put the last tape into place. Now, that wasn't so bad, was it? No, Tails stammered. Thanks. Miss Jeanson gave Tails a sweet smile as he started to pull his pants back up. Hey, why aren't my pants fitting anymore? Tails said as he struggled to get the pants over the bulk of his new diaper. I'm afraid that since these diapers are the heavy-duty class, that they're a fair bit thicker than the ones you wore in here. It's fine, though. You won't get into any trouble in here by walking around in just a shirt and diaper, so long as you keep your padding on, though. But I still have to get home. Don't you have some bigger pants?" Tails said, starting to get a little worried. "Well, you could always look in the clothing area, although I suppose you'd have to make do with what's there," she said as she walked back to where Ebony was waiting. "I was afraid you'd say that." "Oh, you look so cute now," Tails said as Ebony walked up to her. "Shut up. Come on. I need to get something to cover this up," Tails said, motioning to his diaper. Ebony grabbed a nearby shopping cart and piled 5 packs of Tails's new diapers into it. That should hold him out for a while. 64 diapers per pack ain't half bad either. Miss Jeanson led the two to the kids' clothing section. "Take as much time as you want. Hopefully you can find something to your liking." She then left to take care of other business. Tails looked around, but all he could find was a bunch of onesies and footy pajamas, which were actually in his size. Tails picked up a yellow onesie and sleeper just out of curiosity and felt the soft material. "What you got there?" Ebony asked, looking over his shoulder. "Oh, I was just looking. You know, those would go great with your new diapers," Ebony said, cutting him off and snatching them from him before he could put them back. Tails sighed and kept looking until he saw what looked like jeans folded up on some shelves. He quickly waddled over, picked a pair up, only to find out that it was actually overalls. "That's probably the best you're gonna find here. At least there's only a little plain on the front. Other than that, they look fairly normal," Ebony said, trying to sound optimistic. "I guess you're right. At least they're not overly babyish." As the two headed up to the front, Ebony picked up plenty of changing supplies, such as baby powder, wipes, lotion, and rash cream, and piled them into the cart as well. It took a couple of minutes for everything to go through the checkout, but fortunately, the store wasn't terribly busy today. After Ebony paid for everything, Tails took his new pants and headed to the back of the store to change into them. "Just don't take too long," Ebony called after him. As she was turning around, something caught her eye. She walked over to the end of the nearest aisle and saw that there were some pacifiers on sale. She got a little grin on her face, swiped 2 of them, and quickly went back to the checkout to pay for them. Tails made it back to the checkout where Ebony was waiting for him. "I feel like a toddler," Tails said flatly. "Well, you look like one too. It's pretty obvious you've got some serious padding going on down there," Ebony said, giving Tails a pat on the butt. "But hey, at least you look cute." "Stop saying that. Let's just get back home. I'm getting hungry." "We could stop somewhere on the way," Ebony suggested. "No, I'm not hungry enough to publicly humiliate myself." Okay. Guess that Happy Meal will have to wait," Ebony said as they left the store. "You two have a good one," Miss Jeanson called after them. "You too, Miss J," Ebony called back. Little to Tails' knowledge, Ebony was going to give him one heck of a surprise once they got back to his home. Thank you all for listening to me, Morgan Freeman, read another chapter of Tales Back in Diapers by Black Night Wing.